Righto, today's little project looks okay from the outside, but check this out. So these seals have been getting worse and worse. I'm going to replace them today. There are a couple of YouTube videos on this, but I thought I'm going to have a go and I'm going to try a slightly different approach, and I'll show you what I've done. I've done the other side, it looks pretty good, and I'll show you how to do any side. So what do you need? Heat gun. You need that to soften the glue of the old strip seal. This is a new one. I bought this. This is not a genuine OEM part. It's a Chinese one. I've bought it because it was about a third the price. I've got a screwdriver, flat blade. Got scissors. You may or may not need those depending on how much glue is sticking out inside the car. And I've got a small flat blade screwdriver, which I found indispensable. Anyway, let's get into it. So people will think, how hot is enough? Well, that is pretty hot. It's probably about 60 degrees to touch. I'm just going to use a flat blade screwdriver here just to kind of start. And this is hot, so like a wise man would probably put gloves on.
I'm not a smart man.
Okay, you can just see that teasing away there. So once you get a start, you can just pull this out. All right, down we go. Righto, your car's anything like mine, look at all of that filth. So I'm just got some soapy water, going to clean all of that crap off, and then I'll show you a trick that I've used on the other side of the car to get all of the gunk off the inside of the glass there. Okay, so this is pretty much as clean as I can get it, and I'm just showing you all the gunk and the crap that's on the inside of the glass in there. So the best way, people have suggested using like a goo off. I've tried isopropyl alcohol, I've tried eucalyptus oil. The best thing that I've found to use is actually a flat blade screwdriver and drag it down the inside with a cloth wrapped around the screwdriver so that you don't damage your car. Even though you won't see it, you'll know that there are scratches there. And that's the kind of crap that you're trying to get off. It's pretty sticky, looks like a snot ball actually. Just using this tissue just to make sure I don't accidentally scrape the Duco of the car. I've also tried to run a blade up here, but I found that this flat blade screwdriver is actually better. You can see it all coming off. Like that, another snot ball. And then, when I've got as much of this glue off the inside as I possibly can, I will clean it with some tea tree or eucalyptus oil and some isopropyl alcohol. So I've just found that when you're doing this, just apply inside pressure on the pushing into the inside of the glass, so you can get rid of, see all that, all those snot balls, and that's what you're trying to obviously scrape off. You can use a blade, but I found that this flat blade screwdriver is probably a bit safer, and I think it does just as good a job, as long as you're careful and you don't scratch your Duco. And just when you're right up the top, you see that little raised lip that's inside the door frame. Just be really, really careful and kind of roll it towards yourself like that, and just keep successively, there's going to be a lot of gunk up the top here, and just kind of tease it forward and just take your time. Righto, so next step, I've just got a little bit of eucalyptus oil on a flat blade screwdriver protected by some masking tape. Just rubbing that on the inside just to try and get rid of any glue residue. Right, next step, I'm just going to use a little bit of, I just want to make sure there's no eucalyptus oil left on the inside of that, so I'm just going to use a little spray of isopropyl alcohol and just run that on the inside just to get rid of any residue. And look at all the crap that comes off there. Just makes that as clean as a whistle. So we're at the stage now where we're ready to fit this, and you can see that there's some little jumps there in the plastic, some little bumps. So what I did on the other side, and it worked pretty well, is to lift all of this off and then reseat it so it's flat. And the reason that you need to do that is you want to fit this inside as a test fit, like so, run it all the way down, and to do that, the protective plastic stripping that's over the adhesive strip needs to be completely flat. So gently pull it off until you get to a point where it's flat, which is about there on mine. put a bit of tension on it and reseat it on the adhesive so that it doesn't have any bumps in it. And mine overlaps the end by just a 15th there, which is a scientific measurement. Now all you do is you push this in all the way down, and you want to make sure, see how it's sitting perfectly flush at the top? When you work this down, if there's any kind of bumps or lumps, you want to work out what's going on. So that's not quite sitting in at the bottom, so it's not a problem inside the glass there. It just means that this has to be pushed in with either a spaging tool, like well, you know what a spaging tool is, or there we go. Now that's pretty good. That's actually perfect. This is so much cleaner than the other side. And now what you do is you pull this out, get a pair of scissors, and just cut that somewhere in the middle. Cut the plastic, not the rubber. And then, using the same flat blade screwdriver, you can pull these up and out, and you are almost ready to pull the plastic protective stripping off. Run your eyes up and down to make sure that there's none of the red stripping showing. So when you're happy with it, get your screwdriver, lift up the protective tape where you've cut it, lift that out, and start to push that in as you pull this out and up, just like that. So that's the top half done. Now we'll do the bottom half. Again, just get your, pull the protective tape off, and my YouTube friends, we are done. Now all I'm going to do is I'm going to use this tool, which has got a little bit of protective tape on the inside so I don't scratch the Duco, and I'm just going to run that down the inside and lift it just to make sure that I've got a good seal against the glass there. Close that. Bona fide, fixed, done and dusted, 100%.